Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for being here today. I want to change the subject for just a second, or not the subject, but kind of the focus. We've been focused on automobiles, we've been focused on the agriculture part of it, but I represent the coast of Georgia. I represent over 100 miles of coastal area in Georgia. Therefore, as you can imagine, boating is very popular in my district, and as one who grew up in the district, I've spent a lot of my life on the water. And let me start with you, Mr. Loris, and ask you, you're aware, Mr. Loris, of the unique challenges that ethanol blended fuels can present to marine engines, particularly overheating and engine failure, correct?
Absolutely.
So you're also aware that while some of the marine engines that are on the market today, that they can utilize the E10 fuel, but if you get above that, I'm not aware of any that would be able to utilize a blend more than E10.
None that I know of.
So there's a risk that's associated, and I hope you all understand where I'm coming from. There's a very serious risk that's associated with using fuels with ethanol in marine engines, and particularly outboard engines, which a lot of people have, outboard engines, even up here, but particularly on the coast of Georgia, particularly when you're talking about being out in the ocean. And, you know, when you're in a boat and you have engine trouble, it's different than when you're in a car and you have engine trouble. I mean, when you're stranded out in the water and you have engine trouble, the weather can change suddenly. A number of things could happen. It's a serious, serious problem. And this is what we're running into here. So this is where my focus is at right now, is the impact the real impact that this is having on marine engines. And it's having that impact now. We're having overheating. We're having engine failure as a result of having to use this fuel. Mr. Grunler, would you agree that the EPA is bound by the renewable fuel standards to keep increasing the amount of ethanol that's in our fuel stocks?
I would disagree with that, sir.
You would disagree that the EPA is bound to increase? Do you think that the EPA is going to be attempting to increase the amount?
The job that Congress gave us was to increase the total amount of renewable fuels. The marketplace will choose.
That's not what I asked you. What I asked you was specifically, do you think that EPA is going to continue to attempt to increase the amount of ethanol in our fuels?
It's not a question of ethanol. We do not set an ethanol standard, sir.
Then that's what we've talked about all day, is the fact that the renewable fuel standards, that you're going to continually try to increase that. Now, I want you to understand what a dire strait this is going to put marine engines in, and particularly people who utilize outboard engines, and the impact that this is going to have. No, if we continue to breach the blend wall, and it's no longer economically feasible for producers to use the RINs that you referred to earlier in this testimony, then we're not going to have any more ethanol-free fuel. And boaters are just going to simply be out of luck here. They're not going to be able to use their outboard engines, and if they do, they're going to be in the danger of being broke down out on the water. This is a serious, serious threat. So this is more than just the economic impact. Obviously, we all understand the economic impact this is going to have, but this is putting people's safety at risk here.
I'm very sensitive to those concerns, sir. I come from Michigan. We do a lot of boating. I'm a boater. I'm aware of the risks of using high ethanol blends in outboard motors. That's not permitted. All boat engines today are designed and calibrated to use E10. And as we consider these standards, we do look at what the marine environment needs and what the marine market needs for a lower ethanol blend.
Well, as you move forward, I hope that you will keep in mind that you have an impact. When you increase this, you impact the marketplace. I mean, the producers are not going to continue to produce the ethanol-free fuels if there's not a market for it, if they are being required to produce the blended fuels. And this is going to have a big impact on boaters all across the country, whether it be in Michigan or especially whether it be on the coast of Georgia. And this is of concern to me because, I reiterate, it's different when you get broke down in a boat than when you get broke down in a car. It's a big, big difference.
I completely get that. I've been stuck out in the middle of Lake Michigan.
Well, and you ought to be stuck out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, I've been there too, sir, but not stuck, fortunately. But
Well,
what
I have been, and I can tell you it's not a good feeling.
Thank goodness for the Coast Guard. But what I'd like to just point out is that the marketplace does have choices, and obligated parties can choose to blend biodiesel.
With all due respect, Mr. Grundler, you have an impact on it. The EPA and your rules and your regulations have a big impact on it, and I hope you keep that in consideration. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your indulgence, and I yield back.
I think it would only benefit you
comments.
if you weren't in the Bermuda Triangle. That might be trouble for you.